Hello everyone, welcome to another Narc Survivor live video. In this one, a very interesting topic. The best way to defeat a narcissist. Because of course, I hate this analogy, or this saying, but there is more than one way to skin a cat. There are other ways to defeat a narcissist. But in my opinion, this is the best way. This is the best way to do it. The worst way to try to defeat a narcissist is to go head to head with them, to go toe to toe. Because by doing that, you're never going to win. You're always going to lose. Because it means so much more to them than it does to you. They are in a fight for their lives. They will do whatever it takes. And that is why it's really not a good way to go about it. I don't advise going head to head with a narcissist because they have a lot of experience in that arena. So you're not going to out-manipulate them. They will stoop to any low. There's really nothing that they won't do because they lack integrity. They have no morals, values, or principles. They will do anything, they will do whatever it takes in order to gain the upper hand over you. And that's why I say in the title that what I'm giving to you in this video, this is the best way to defeat a narcissist. The best way to defeat them is to not care about what they think. Don't let them judge you. Do not seek their validation. Because by doing that, you are living in their reality. You are existing in their world. And trust me, life is so much better when you don't care about what a narcissist thinks. When you do just do whatever you want to do, and you do it for yourself rather than for them. Life is so much better when you do that. And it feels so much better when you look back at your life and the way that you chose to go about things. Because even if things don't turn out the way that you want them to, even if things don't go their way, at least you can say that you were being real, you were being authentic, you were being yourself, instead of trying to please them, instead of constantly worrying about what they thought about you, what they wanted you to do. Because even by doing that, you're still going head to head with them, because they're just going to see it as a competition. But one thing they won't see it as a competition is when you don't care about what they think. When you distance yourself, when you go no contact. I mean, initially, they might give you the silent treatment, they might ghost you. And some of them, they won't just do that initially, they will do that for as long as they think that they need to. But many narcissists, they will just do that initially, and they won't really be able to compete with you in that, because they're the ones who need you. You don't actually need them. All you need is yourself and everything that you are. But of course, that is the last thing that they want for you. They want you to revolve around them. They want you to live in this world where abuse is okay and smear campaigns are acceptable. And I think I can speak for all of us when I say that we do not want to live in a world like that, because we do not support abuse. We do not support the things that they do. And to be seeking validation from someone who is abusive and harmful, that is not going to be good for you. As I spoke about in yesterday's live video, how we should stay away from sexual contact with narcissists. I mean, one of the main reasons why is because of the things that they do. They're abusive, they're harmful, they're damaging people. So of course, to be around them, to be sexually involved with them, that's going to harm you. And if you're seeking their validation, whether it's emotional or sexual, that's not gonna make you feel good about yourself. Because despite what they may be telling you, you know that they're no good. You know that what they're doing is not right. And that is why you should not suppress yourself. You need to have time, you need to have space where you can be yourself, instead of just being who and what they want you to be. It's just whatever suits them, whatever makes them happy. And of course, they're against truth, they're against reality. So it's never going to be good for you, which is why it's much better for you to focus on yourself and validate yourself rather than seeking validation from them. But also, I would advise that you do not reveal too much about yourself to the narcissist, because this person that you are, this wonderful person with these incredible qualities, skills, and abilities that you have, that you possess, you are not meant for them. You should not share yourself with a narcissist. You should not share anything about you with them, because they are not deserving of you. You deserve so much more. You deserve better. And of course, the reason why is because they are abusive. They are toxic. They are harmful to you. So how can they deserve you if they're just going to destroy you? If they're going to harm you? That's like giving a $100 bill to a toddler. It's a very silly thing to do, because of course they're not going to value it, they're not going to be grateful, and they're just going to harm it. They're going to rip it up. And like it says in the Bible, do not cast your pearls unto swine, or else they will trample them. I'm not sure if that's exactly what it says in the Bible, but I think it goes something like that. And it makes a lot of sense. Do not cast pearls into swine, because you think the swines are going to know how valuable those pearls are. They're not going to care. They're just going to see it as something to play with, something to amuse or entertain themselves. Or they'll just walk all over it, destroy it. Same thing with these narcissists. And that's why I say that you are not for them. They do not deserve you. You deserve so much more, so much better than that. And what you deserve is to be loved. You deserve to be cared for, appreciated, valued, and respected. And in fact, I would say that that's what anyone deserves in this world. Everyone deserves to be loved, cared for, valued, and respected. And of course, we already tried that with these narcissists, and look at how they repay you. When you tried to love them, you cared for them, you valued them, you respected them. They did not do the same for you in return. And the reason why is because they know that they do not deserve you. And not only that, but we have to remember that they have a void that can never be filled. No matter what you do for them, it will never be enough, because they're not enough for themselves. You cannot satisfy a narcissist. It's not just you. No one can do that. And that's why, because they can't find satisfaction from normal things that we should all want, we should all desire, this reciprocity of love, care, and respect, value. This is what we should want for each other. But they can't be satisfied with that, so then what do? They harm and abuse you. And they do that because they can't find satisfaction in normal things. That's why they turn against you. That's why they hate you, they envy you. That's why they get so mad. And they're very jealous of these qualities that you possess, of how you're such a loving, caring, empathic person. They're very jealous of all of that. So then they also harm and abuse you because they want to change everything about you. They don't want you to be that loving, caring, empathic person anymore. They don't want you to be that for anyone, because they couldn't be that for you. So it doesn't make them feel good about themselves. It doesn't make them feel good at all. And that is why they want to destroy you. But you being around them, you will never feel good about yourself. You will never feel good about yourself being around these narcissists, because all they're going to do is hurt you. All they're going to do is make you feel bad about yourself. You're never going to feel good when you are around them. And even after you've left them or they've left you, You're not going to feel good after that as well. And that's not right. That's not how it should be. When you are involved with someone, you should feel good when you are around them, when you are in contact with them. But then you should also feel good when you're not around them as well. But that's the thing when you're with these narcissists. Sometimes you might feel good around them, but then they cause you to feel anxious when they're not there. But then it gets to a point where you just feel awful whether you're with them or not. And this is why you've got to stop seeking their validation. Stop worrying about what they think about you. Stop expecting them to care. They do not care. They never did. They never will. They just want to harm you. They want to abuse you. And that is why you must live in your own reality. Live for yourself. Do not live for the narcissist. Because you did not come to this world to please the narcissist. So you need to be the main character in the movie. That is your life. It's better to be the one who is being observed rather than the one who is doing the observing. So yes, while they may be following you around, stalking you on social media, showing up at your house, your work, or wherever they think you're going to be, instead of just always trying to control that, instead of trying to constantly set boundaries for them, you need to remember that these boundaries are for yourself. And there's only so much of their behavior that you can control. Yes, they are crazy, they are mentally ill. But it's far better to be the one who is being observed rather than being the one who is obsessing and stalking someone. So you let them stalk you. Let them watch. But what I will say is do not let them get too close. Because if they get too close, they will harm you. And they will weaponize anything in their means. But sometimes you just gotta let them do it. If they want to turn whatever they're meant to be, whatever they have into a weapon against you, there's only so much you can control about that. So let them do it. Let them get all worked up about you. Let them be angry, worried, or shocked about you. Let them try to predict where you're going to be. Let them waste their time wondering what you're doing. Let them study you. Let them give up on themselves to try to become a second-rate version of you. Because that's all they're going to do. And then let them go off and start a new relationship with what they stole from you. And I know this may sound counterintuitive, but you will see where I'm going with this. Don't expect an apology. Don't expect any closure. Don't expect an explanation for why they did what they did. And instead, just let them go. And why do you let them go? Why do you let them just come in and waste all of their time obsessing over you, studying you? mimic you, copy you, become a second-rate version of you, steal from you, triangulate you and then leave you without an apology, without closure, without an explanation for why they did what they did, and then just let them go. Why do you do that? I can tell you the reason why is because what they're doing is self-destructive. And by them doing that, they're just going to end up destroying themselves. And then what they're going to do is they will come back to try to destroy you. Because they just messed up their own lives by turning against you and leaving you. But do not let them back in. Don't let them know anything about your life. They will only ruin everything. So keep them out. Let them lose their minds stalking you, trying to find information about you, while you just keep it moving. You focus on what is in front of you, while they spend the rest of their lives in the past. That's all they're going to do. They're going to spend the rest of their lives in the past thinking about you, obsessing over you. And why? Because they're envious of you. They're resentful. So that's all they're going to do. And because of their emotional instability, their inability to regulate their own emotions, yes, they may continue trying to harass you. But they're just trying to find out more information about you so that they can steal what you have developed since they were gone. But when you distance yourself and you go no contact, they lose, and they know that. That's why they're the ones chasing after you. And you're doing anything you possibly can to try to avoid them, because you're the one with the value. They're the ones who need you. And of course, that's why if you distance yourself, it's going to affect them and not you. You will be a lot happier and you will have more energy. And I can promise you, the life that you live away from them, with them gone, and with you spending time by yourself, and you go into certain places, you're having these memories, you're taking pictures by yourself in the places that you go to. When you look back, you're going to feel so much better about yourself than being involved with a narcissist, doing things that they want to do, that you didn't want to do that. When you look back, you're going to feel a lot of shame because of what I mentioned at the start of this video. How they are abusive, they're harmful, they're not deserving of you. And when you give yourself to someone who's not deserving of you, you're not going to feel good about it. They may not feel too good in the moment, but especially afterwards. And you may live to regret that. And that's why it's so much better if you distance yourself. It's much healthier for you. You will regain your energy and you will feel so much happier without them. You will feel so much happier with them gone. But they're not going to feel happier without you. They will be miserable, taking drugs, getting drunk, going to clubs, all while you're working hard and focusing on the future. And of course, that's why they hoover you. That's why they come back. They come back because they've already messed up their own lives. They come back to leech off your energy and resources. But then they hate and resent you because they're dependent on you. And then they want to destroy you, which is why you just need to let them obsess if that's what they're going to do. But distance yourself. Don't let them near you because they're self-destructive. They are a danger to themselves. So of course, they're going to harm you. Of course, they're going to cause problems for you. Because that's what they're already doing for themselves. That's what they're already doing in their own lives. So how can they come back and make anything better for you? They can't even take care of themselves. And that's what we have to remember. That's what we have to remind ourselves. Because they're not going to tell you that. They will come back with a love bombing. But it's not. They're always going to be that same way. And they're only ever going to try to pull you into it. They are stuck in this childhood programming, in the way in which they are wired in their minds, and they cannot get out of it. They will always be that way. While as for you or for myself, we can change and things can get better for us. We can grow and improve. And that's why they're the ones who are always trying to come back and pull us back into the cycle with them. Because they are stuck in this cycle for the rest of their lives. They will never be able to get out of it. They are stuck on a loop. And they're trying to pull you into it so that then they don't have to feel so alone. Misery loves company. They are always going to be toxic. They're always going to be abusive. They're always going to be the narcissist that they are. And of course, narcissists, they need a source of supply. They need someone to validate them. And that's how they try to make you worry about what they think. They try to get you to seek their validation. And by doing that, it becomes a battle, a competition. And there's no way to win by doing that, because it gets to a point where they can't validate you without invalidating themselves. And it's because they have this black or white mentality. They have to see you as bad so that they can see themselves as good. So what you gotta do is you gotta stay away from them. You must distance yourself. You must validate yourself. You must recognize that yes, they are harmful, they are abusive, they are no good for you, they're not deserving of you. Because if they were deserving of you, they would have treated you well. Just like how you treated them well. Because you did look after them, you did take good care of them. But they did not do the same for you in return. And for me, I mean, there's nothing I find more disturbing than that. I think for any human who has morals, values, when someone gives you a certain level of treatment, when they give you love and respect, they care about you, then that should be reciprocated. Then you should treat them in the same way. But they never did that for you. They never gave you the love and respect that you deserved. And that is why I say that they are not deserving of you. And that's how, after being involved with them, and this is the really disturbing part about it, because normally when you're involved with someone, when you're in a relationship, it's supposed to make you better, you're supposed to grow. But we get involved with these people and it's like, we were so much better before we got involved with them, before they gained access into our lives. We were so much better, so much happier. And that's really it. That's why this is the best way to defeat a narcissist. Just by looking back and remembering how much happier you were before. How much better your life was back then. Because it was. You get involved with them and then you have all of these problems that they put into your life. You become very anxious, maybe depressed. It's like you're just not the person that you were before. And maybe because they put you down, they devalued you. They made you feel like the person that you were before is not as good as now that you're with them. When actually, no, that's not right. You were far better before. You were far better before all of that. You really were. Even though some of you may have got involved with this narcissist, and it's like, you feel like they gave you this new life. You feel like they upgraded you in some way. But then at the same time, it's like you became their slave. And now your entire life revolved around them. But then at the same time, you feel like they provided something to you. They gave you something that you couldn't provide for yourself. But really think about that for a moment. Because if you look back, I'm sure many of you will see you were a lot happier before all of that. You lived such a carefree life. You didn't have all of this stress, all of these worries. And now you do. Now you do. Now you have this anxiety, this stress that you didn't have before. Before all of it. And this is why sometimes it's best just to go right back to the start. Before you got involved with the narcissist. Or at least at the beginning. I mean, we don't always have to go to extremes, but to look back at the beginning and to remember what it was that you were looking for. What it was that you thought they could provide to you. But then it's like they dangled it like a carrot on a stick. They lied to you, they future faked, and you were running on this hamster wheel endlessly trying to please them, and it just wasn't going anywhere. Sometimes you've just got to trace your steps back and remember what it was that you were actually looking for. Because sometimes when you are longing and yearning for someone, it's more just for the false character they display to you. And then you create the rest of it in your mind without realizing that what you're thinking about, that was never what you wanted. You never wanted that anyway. You wanted something else. You wanted something different. What did you want? Maybe you wanted more freedom, less responsibility, less problems, less worries, more time to do what you want to do with someone that you love, you care about, and who cares about you. Was that not what we all wanted? But then you get involved with these narcissists and you get the opposite of that. You end up with more problems, more worries, more sleepless nights. And it just gets worse and worse the more time that you spend with them. And that's why sometimes you just got to stop and trace your steps back and remember what it was that you actually wanted. And that's another way to defeat them, because they're expecting you to be seeking more progression, for things to move forward, and for them to give you closure, validation. It's not always about looking ahead. Sometimes it's good to look back. It's good to look back at what was successful before. Why were you so much happier before? And you will see as well that a lot of businesses use this as well, such as in fashion and music. Especially these days, they're not really creating new styles. What they're doing is they're going back and repeating things that were popular, that were fashionable before. And that makes a lot of sense, because if it was successful in the past, then why couldn't it be successful again? If it led to a favorable result, then why could it not do that now? Of course, sometimes there may need to be some adjustments, but it's something to think about. And of course, just getting back to yourself. Things that you used to like to do, things that you could do before you were involved with this narcissist. You may have had certain hobbies or interests. Maybe you used to like listening to certain music without being brainwashed. Maybe you like to read books. Sometimes it's good to start going, to go back and start doing those things again, to get in touch with who you are. Because when you get around these narcissists, they change so much about you. It's like you forget who you are. And they always want to change you to where it's like you become the opposite of who you actually are. Because that's what they like to do. They like to turn you into the opposite. That's what makes them feel powerful. And that can be a very good way to remember who you are. By looking at your life now after dealing with them and realizing that perhaps your true identity is the opposite of where you are and what you are now. Such as you may feel paranoid, distrustful, hypersensitive, hyper-aware, overreactive, very anxious. You may even be experiencing depression. Yes, you may be feeling all of these things now, but you didn't feel that way before. They turned you into the opposite of who you naturally are. And maybe now you're always in a rush. And it's like you can't just enjoy the moment. You can't just enjoy sitting on a beach and doing nothing. Not thinking, not worrying about anything. You can't even do that anymore. And I think the reason why is because they train you to be that way. Because the narcissist is just always trying to find satisfaction. And remember, they're very greedy, they're insatiable, because they have a void that can never be filled. So it's always just like more, and just hurry. It's always, what's next? What else? What else can we do? What else can I have? And how quickly can we do this? How quickly can it happen? But then you look back before and it's like everything was much slower. You weren't in such a rush to please someone, to satisfy them, or even to try to make yourself happy. Instead, you just didn't really care. It wasn't that important to you. And instead, you just took it one day at a time. But when you're with narcissists, it's like you're not even allowed to feel. Like you can't even feel your emotions. You can't be vulnerable around them because they're predators. Especially when they're love bombing you, it's like it's all about having fun. They're always trying to get you to have a good time, to let loose, let your hair down. That's the worst thing you can do around a narcissist. You can't just take it easy. You can't just have fun. That's how they get you. That is exactly the tool that they use to manipulate and then exploit you. It's always under the guise of fun, pleasure, enjoyment. 3 things that you should never share with a narcissist. Again, they are not deserving of you. They are not deserving of having fun with you. Because what are they going to do? They're going to harm you. And that's why the best way to defeat them is whenever you're around them, whenever you have to have contact with them, you act serious. You observe, don't absorb. Respond, don't react. It's not a time to have fun. It's not a time to laugh or joke. It's not a time to smile or be happy. They feed on that. They know that you should not feel happy with them. They know that you shouldn't feel pleased with that. They know that you deserve so much more. They know that you're better than them. They're absolute garbage. And they know that. But they prefer to live in a fantasy where they trick you and they pull you into it. And they make you feel like this is what you deserve. They want to pull you down to their level. As I made a video about a few years ago, the narcissist will hold you down. I want everyone to watch that video. Type it into the YouTube search, Narc Survivor, the narcissist will hold you down. Because that's exactly what they will do. You come around them with your high vibrations, or in any sort of contact with them. You try to be nice, you try to be friendly. You're polite, happy, they will just hold you down. They will lower your vibration, they will harm you. You never give the best parts of yourself to a narcissist. You do that and they will always show you why you just made a big mistake. Or you can't have fun around them, you can't smile, you can't be happy, because they're predators. Because they're predators. And it's like, you could be just having a good time and you're just trying to have fun. You're trying not to think too much about things or about what they did to you. And then because they're predators, they just see you as being vulnerable. And then that's just another opportunity for them to exploit you. It's always when your guard isn't up. And that's how, when you're around them or when you think that they're watching, you must keep your guard up. Never let it down. You can never do that around a narcissist. But definitely, you should take some time to just enjoy your own company. Do healing things. Light some scented candles. Take a hot bath. And maybe get a massage. Hot oil massage, that's what I like. And maybe go for a walk in the park, by the lake. Go for a walk on the beach. Maybe at night, just by yourself. Look up at the stars, the moon. Such a healing thing to do. It really is. And it reminds you that there's so much more. There's so much more out there than this, just this world. And people like that. Because when you're trying to heal, when you want to be better, If there's one thing that you need to know, it's that there is more than that. It's that there are better things, there are better people out there, so that you don't lose hope. And I guess that's why when we look around at the world today, it's like everyone is effed up. Everyone's doing crazy things. And a lot of them are brainwashed into doing that because they want to take away your hope. The few good people, the few empaths who are out there, they want to make us feel like we're alone. Like, what's the point in trying? What's the point in healing and trying to be better when everyone else has just messed up? So they're just going to mess us up. It's like that's what they want us to think. But I'm telling you, no. Don't ever give up. Go for a walk on the beach at night. Look up at the moon, the stars. Realize how there is so much more to life than what these narcissists do and what they try to pull you into. We are so much more than that. And that's why I never give up. I will never let a narcissist defeat me. Yes, they can defeat me in some ways. Of course, I'm human. I am vulnerable to certain things. But I'll tell you what they will never defeat, and that is my spirit, that is my soul. That is one thing they will never have. They will never get that. And I knew this. I mean, looking back, you will see it if you look back through the timeline of my videos. If you look back and you see the titles at certain points, at certain times, I mean, I already knew about the way in which narcissists are. And it's how, right at the beginning, right at the start, when I first started making these videos, and even before that as well, that's when I became spiritually awakened. And since then, I have had multiple spiritual awakenings. And I know that we are so much greater than this life. And again, that's why we must be kind, good, respectful to people. Do not cause harm to anyone. But then, of course, be very cautious around narcissists, because you've seen what they're capable of, you know what they can do. So there's obviously a very high risk, there's a high possibility that they're going to do it again. I mean, fair enough, if a person may have done something wrong once or twice, 3 times, 4 times. With narcissists, we're talking about hundreds of times that they have done harmful things to you, to other people, maybe thousands of times. So it's not if they're going to do it, it's when. It's a pattern of behavior. This is just who they are. It's what they do. They are evil. And that's why you don't defeat them by going head to head, toe to toe. You're not going to win that way, because they're always going to be like that. And of course, for us, we can't be that way. That's not who we are. So we must continue being ourselves. But also, we need to strengthen this community. We need to work together. We need to love and protect each other from danger and from harm, while distancing ourselves from these narcissists. That's really what we have to do. And that's what I would like to see on this channel a lot more. I would like to see more supportive comments when people are leaving comments and asking questions. I would like to see more discussion, more responses, because that's clearly what we're missing. You see all these narcissists in the world, they've got so many fans, so many followers, so many enablers, so much support. But what about us empaths? Who have we got? And this is why we must all stick together. We must all love and support each other. We must all be there for each other no matter what. Because if we don't stick by each other, then who have we got? And to see this world going the way that it is today, I mean, I remember when I first started this channel, when I first started making these videos, and I thought it was bad back then. I thought it was bad, but to see the world now, it's horrible. It's like my worst nightmare. Because, you know, for me, it's not all about myself. When I'm taking these trips, I'm traveling the world. Of course, I always look around and I see other people, their lives, their struggles. And I don't want to see that. My goal, my mission was for things to get better for people. But that's just how it is, isn't it? When you're dealing with narcissists, you're trying to make things better for them. I mean, that's just what it is. You're trying to make them better. You're trying to get them away from harmful things, from being self-destructive, from destroying their own lives. You want to get them away from the alcohol, off the drugs, away from bad habits, and focusing on a healthier path. And it's like they're constantly working against you while you're working for them. You're working for them, you're trying to make them better, and they're working against you. As crazy as that sounds, that's what it's like. And it's sad to see that. But sometimes they take it as an offense. They see it as an attack. It's like we're hurting them by stating the facts, by pointing out the truth of how things actually are. It's like they can't see that we're just trying to help. And sometimes they may think that we're being insensitive about it. But of course, it's going to make us emotional. We don't want to see someone throw their own lives, their own future down the drain. But it's like they can't see it. They can't see that we're just trying to help them. I've said it before, they think we're fake. They think we're manipulating them. Deep down, they may have some inclination about how we actually are. They may have some idea of it, but then they're in denial, they're gaslighting themselves. And that's why there's just no getting through to them. And that's how the best way to defeat them is just to walk away, distance yourself. They will come back to you. Because they know they're just destroying themselves. And at some level, it's like they know they can only feel better when they're around you. That's why they come back to you. But you need to stay away from them because they will harm you, they will abuse you. They're not deserving of you. And that is the best way to defeat them. Instead of going head to head, toe to toe, you can't battle it out with them. You will never win. They've been doing this their entire lives. That's how they're masters at it. I'm just going to take a look at the live chat here. Jessica says he always projected what he was doing to me and used reverse psychology. That's a very common thing with narcissists. They always use the DAVO, denial, projection, reverse victim and offender. They always use that. And that's why there's just no getting through to them. Even trying to be the bigger person. As soon as you try to take accountability for something, or you try to be better, you try to be vulnerable and open up, and straight away, like the predators they are, they will home in on that, and they will use that against you. And they'll make it out like it's all on you, you're to blame. It's like you can't even be vulnerable around them. You can't even take accountability for anything. Because if you do that, then they will blame you for everything. And they won't take responsibility for anything. You can't be vulnerable around narcissists. You can't be the bigger person. You take accountability for one small thing and then suddenly everything is your fault. That's why when it comes to narcissists, because of the way they are, they're so crazy, it's better if we just don't take accountability for anything. Because otherwise, you know what they're going to do? They'll blame us for it all. There's no even ground. There's no fairness. There's no meeting each other halfway and saying, okay, yes, I was to blame for that, but then you were to blame for all of this. They're not going to do that. You take accountability for one thing, and then suddenly everything is your fault. And not only that, then they can do whatever they want from that point on as well. And that will still be your fault, even though they're the ones doing it and they're the cause of it. That's how crazy narcissists are. So when it comes to narcissists, Think of someone like someone in a mental asylum. You're better off just lying to them. I mean, they're lying to you. They're not going to play by the rules. They never will. So why should you? So that's how you're better off hiding things from them, because they are crazy. And I don't find any satisfaction in saying this. I am a man of integrity. I do prefer honesty. But with narcissists, it's not going to lead anywhere good. There's no fairness with them. It's all or nothing. Hi Fly G123 says, I say don't give up your values for a narc. I used to think that, but now, I mean, I've had values for narcissists so many times, and each time they exploited it. I think our values are for people who value us. You could be kind, nice, giving, trustworthy. The narcissist will destroy all of that. They will show you why you just made a big mistake by doing that. I think people do need to be deserving of our values. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't have our values for people who are homeless, or people who have lost their job, or it's something where maybe they were just unfaithful, or they were addicted to drugs. You can still have values for those types of people, especially if they accept it and they're trying to change. But with narcissists, any values you have will be used against you. They will exploit that. They will be like, you want to have values, then all right, you can be this honest, righteous person, while they just play around and act like a fool. Now they'll create more and more problems for you to take responsibility for, because they have this all or nothing mentality. But this is why I say the best way to defeat them is to distance yourself from them. Because when you're around them, they will push you to the edge until you have to give up your values in order for you to survive. That's why it's best just to distance yourself from them. Don't get involved. Steady Pace says, narcs feed off your fear. Stay strong around them. Yeah, that's what they do. Especially psychopaths. And it's crazy how they think. Like they see you in fear, and then that makes them feel powerful. But for us as empaths, we see someone in fear, and for me, that makes me feel shame. That makes me feel like I have failed to respond. Like how a man should respond to someone who is in fear, to someone who needs my help. But for them, for narcissists, yes, they feed off that. It gives them a thrill. John Tracy says they will take a grudge against you to their grave. Oh, they really will. Until the very end. They will never forgive you. You could forgive them for things that are 100 times worse to anything that you ever did to them. And they will still never forgive you. They will still always hold a grudge. And sometimes what they're holding a grudge against you for, you never even intended to cause them harm. But what they did to you was deliberate. Nala's just sitting here resting. It's time for her to have her dinner now. Not much of a view here, though, from this condo. All you can really see is just the other apartments. To be honest, I prefer to keep the curtains closed. But then I do leave them open because, of course, that sunlight, vitamin D is very important. It's not natural to just be in the dark in the room. Gotta make the most of the sun, of the light. But as I said before, when I was in this condo in the Philippines, to me, these big condominium blocks, it just reminds me of like something out of the Matrix. I don't know if you remember that scene when they're all in those pods and they're all just stacked up on top of each other. It just creeps me out. I'm definitely a big Matrix fan. I'm sure someone said in one of my videos before, they said I'm like Morpheus from the Matrix. I really liked that comparison. Maybe I do look like a younger Morpheus when I shave my head. But yeah, that's what we're doing. For those of you who are new, those of you who have just joined, just found my channel, you've just discovered these videos. That's what we're doing on here. We are all taking the red pill and we are leaving the Matrix. We are leaving the Matrix behind because we know that we do not belong there. We have awakened. And I remember when The Matrix first came out. It came out back in 1999. And I remember me and my dad, we just moved into this new house. And I was just sitting on the floor in the lounge because I don't think we had any furniture in that room at the time, but then back then, when I was that age, I used to enjoy just sitting on the floor. I found it more comfortable for some reason. But anyway, yeah, I think this was back in 2001. I just switched on the TV and it was The Matrix, the first movie. And it was so shocking to see it at that age. But even back then, it made a lot of sense to me. And I knew from that point on, this world is all fake. It's not real. I knew that this is a simulation. Even back then. And I was just 10 years old, 11 years old. Just watching that movie, it all made sense. And sometimes when I was a child, I would just lay on the floor outside and just look up at the sky. Be a bright blue sky, maybe a few clouds there. And I knew this is not my home. I just knew that I live somewhere else. And this was when I was a child. This is when I was maybe 7 or 8 years old. I already knew that I do not belong here. And then I'd be at school, I would never try to make any friends. I just spend all of my time cycling on my bike for hours, going to the beach all day by myself, not talking to anyone. Or if I did talk to anyone, there were a few people. They'd be like these older men, these fishermen. There was like an older woman as well. She was like a hippie. There were always people who were like 30 years older than me when I was a child. I never really had friends my own age. I mean, maybe 1 or 2, but I barely saw them. But yeah, that movie, The Matrix, incredible movie. I don't know how they managed to come out with that, but they did, and I'm very grateful for it because it really shaped the rest of my life. Had I not seen it, I would be a very different person. If I didn't see that movie, The Matrix, back in 2001, I don't know how this, I I don't know how this video ended up with me talking about the Matrix. But I think it's good. It's good to talk about these things. But you know, I don't think it's all how they lead us to believe about it. It's not just that there's this other world out there and everything's good, there's no problems. I think there are problems there too. Just like in the Matrix. It's not that everyone is good. And that's how I don't let it get to me too much, what people do in this world, because I have a pretty good feeling that what we're going to find in the next world, it's far worse. Like if we think these people are evil, these narcissists, these psychopaths, what we find after this life, it's a lot worse than that. But I don't have all the answers on that. And I don't want to scare anyone. What I do know is that we are strong enough to deal with it. And together, I know that we will. Because I believe that love always wins in the end. Nothing is more powerful than love. Love is the most powerful thing in this universe, in existence. And that's why you should never let anyone destroy your love. Never let anyone take that away from you. Always have that love for yourself and that love for other people, for animals, for this beautiful world that we have. Always have that love inside of you. Never keep the hate in your heart, in your mind, in your soul. It will eat away at you, it will destroy you. But with love, we can accomplish anything. There's nothing that we can't do with love. All right. It's time for me to sort out Nala's dinner. And then I'm going to do some more work on my laptop. Got some great videos coming very soon. I hope you enjoyed this video with me today as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you, because I do enjoy sharing my love with you and giving you this support. It means so much to me to have this platform that gives me the ability to do this, and I really appreciate your support as well. If you can give this video a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. I see we got 53 thumbs ups, 106 live viewers. Please hit that thumbs up button down below. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Click all notifications, and then you will be notified when I go live in the future. I also appreciate donations, no matter how small. You can donate to my PayPal. It is paypal.me/Narc Survivor. If you'd like to book a one-on-one coaching session with me, just go to my website. It is narcsurvivor.co.uk. And check out my Instagram. I've been posting some reels from my trip last year to Sri Lanka. I haven't finished posting them all yet, but already just from last year's trip to Sri Lanka, getting close to 1 million plays. So you can check out all of my reels on my Instagram. It is Narc Survivor YouTube. Follow me on there. Sending you peace and love. I appreciate all of you. You're all amazing. Thank you all for your support. And I look forward to speaking with you in another live video.